Hi, my name is Alex Rowley. This is Science 1 Addiction Counseling Theories for Aspen University. This is a video response for a hypothetical case study in the case of a potential client named Greta. Greta is a young woman who has lived in the U.S. for about 6 months. She lived in Norway before this. She immigrated and was married to a college professor who I am personally and professionally close to, and it looks like things kind of got off to a rocky start. So first, what reactions do I have towards Greta? First, I feel a lot of empathy moving from Norway to the United States. That's a big culture shock. That's a big change. So I definitely would feel very bad for her. It says here that she kind of begged me not to reject her. That's a hard situation because of my relationship with her husband. I wouldn't want to do anything that could ethically cause any issues. I wouldn't want there to be an issue that could potentially hurt their relationship, potentially hurt mine and her husband's relationship, or do anything unethical. I wouldn't want to open myself up to any sort of lawsuit or anything like that. And that kind of would make it hard for me to counsel her. I think what I would like to do, honestly, would be to refer her to another therapist. I know that it said here that she has a hard time opening up to a lot of Americans, and so that's why she wants to work with me. I think that my responsibility to her would be to ultimately find her a therapist that she is comfortable with. Find her a therapist that is willing to do the groundwork, kind of involve himself with her culture in the sense that he can kind of understand where she's coming from in order to best help her. I personally would not want to work with her just because of the problems that it could potentially cause. I think that as a human being, I would like to help her. I'd like to help whoever I could, whoever needed help. But I don't know if this would be a situation that would be, best for her. I really wouldn't want to cause any issues between me and her husband. And if I did end up counseling her, I have to set a lot of ground rules and boundaries at the very beginning with her and her husband. Her husband wouldn't be allowed to ask me about our sessions. I couldn't tell him anything. The only thing that I could possibly do is counsel both of them together, in like a marriage counseling situation. The reason why I would work with her is just because, I'd worry that if she didn't work with me and she refused to work with anybody else, that she wouldn't get the help that she needed. And that would be a concern for me. I've had a lot of life experiences of people that haven't gotten the help that they needed, and it ended, with them, hurting themselves with drugs, alcohol, suicide, and so that would be a reason why I would help her. I would try as hard as I could to find her a therapist she was comfortable with, and if I absolutely couldn't, and if I looked into the laws and the ethics in the state that I was certified in, and it allowed me to do that, then after that I would help her. But like I said, I wouldn't want to cause any issues, and I feel like it would be best for her to find somebody else. But if that just wasn't possible, then I would probably help her. The main thing here is to set those boundaries with her and her husband, to find out exactly how you're liable in the situation, as far as if the laws are concerned. You don't want to do anything to jeopardize their mental health, their relationship, my relationship with her husband, or my practice, my job. So that's kind of what I would do. It is hard when, if you want to help somebody. I think that's why a lot of people try to get into work like this, is because you want to help people, but you really have to take a step back and decide if what you're doing is helping them or hurting them. And it would be really hard to figure that out, and unless I actually knew them. In a real situation, I would kind of know how Greta is, how her husband is, and I can maybe get a better sense on how they would handle this. But as a counselor, like, you have a professional responsibility to be ethical and help everybody that you can, but you kind of have to follow the laws as well. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. This is definitely a hard situation, but I would try to pass her on to another therapist, one that I trusted, one that she felt comfortable with, and if not, I'd probably end up taking her, as long as legally I was allowed to do that, as long as there wasn't some law or stipulation that prohibited that. Then I would help her. So, all right, thank you so much. Bye.